I'm not entirely sure where I'm going to go with this today. Partly I want to explore a new scale. Partly I might, in my explorations, come up with some sort of little melody line that I like and go, oh, actually I'm just going to run with that. I guess certainly I can say I'm going to start with single notes, and then I'm going to look at which chords will work with that. Probably slap them into my looper and have a noodle. Arbitrarily, I'm going to look round about the key of A. I'm confident I want a sharp 4. I'm pleased to say that I can now look at my neck across, say, this 4th fret, reach from 4th fret to the 7th fret, and I can quickly, probably instantaneously, identify the role of each of the notes relative to, say, A. What I mean by that: 7, root, flat 2, 2, 3, 4, sharp 4, 5, flat 6, 6, flat 7, 7, root, and so on and so forth. In that way I can really get into and enjoy. I'll do it in a moment. Hopefully I'll manage to let go of my self-conscious feelings around being in front of the camera to do what I normally do, which is just relax into exploring the notes across these frets, allowing myself to go, oh, well, what am I trying to express? Like if I'm playing around here, so for instance there, I'm starting with a 7. So I'm not going to put the 7, unless it really is quite just passing note stuff. If then I'm going to move to play around with the flat 7, I'm going to do something like... So I'm not going to go... But I might. Let's stop talking about it and just do it. I'm going to put pen to paper and see what I come up with. So 1, flat 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6 and flat 7. In the key of A, that's going to be semitone up from A, two tones up from A, tone up from my third, semitone up from my sharp 4, a tone up from my 5, semitone up from my 6, and there we have my scale for today's learning. And next I'm going to consider whether there's a better key, because I'd like to use as many open strings as possible. Had a bit of a think about it, decided to stick with the same key, because when I look at my open strings, E is in there and G is in there. Sorry, that's A, but G is in there. So both my E's and my A and my G are in there. There's just my D and my B that isn't. So I'm going to stick with that key and see where it takes me. I don't want to bore you by going through how I come up with every single chord. Essentially, first thing I'm going to look at is every other note, just to give you an example. So I'll take my scale, which is A, B flat, that's 5 and 6 on the 6th string. Then on the 5th string I've got the 4th, 6th and 7th. That's the frets. These are the major 3rd, sharp 4, the 5. I've got the 6 and the flat 7 at the 4th and 5th frets of my 4th string. So just taking every other note from the A, take the first note, ignore the second note, take the third note, ignore the fourth note, take the fifth note, ignore the sixth note, take the seventh note. I've got, which I know is an A dominant 7. Now that was quick and easy. Some of them I'll need to think about, and I just don't want to bore you or have to go through all the editing myself. So I'll just come back to you when I've got my group of chords together. So I have a terrible habit that no self-respecting performing musicians should probably admit to, and that is that I tend to look at my guitar neck all the time that I'm playing. I'm not going to justify it at the moment. I do have my reasons. However, a positive upside is that I can look at my neck and work out these chords far more easily than putting pen to paper. So I'm recognising the shapes probably more than, I don't know. I'm recognising the shapes because I stare at my neck a lot. So I want to briefly run through the chords. I'll try not to waffle too much, but it's something that I do seem to excel at. Let's see, the chords I came up with. So this is what I mean when I say look at my neck. I can go, I know there's a major 3rd, I know that's the 5th, I know that's the flat 7th, I know that's the flat 9 therefore. So I know I've got A major, and I know I've got A7. As far as my B flat goes, what I notice by looking at my guitar neck, you know, because I mean in relation to the A and my scale, that's my 6, that's my major 3rd, it's my 6 again. But when I look at this, with this here, the most painful E chord I ever had to learn was that. That's what I'm seeing. That's an E major with the third in the bass. So what I'm seeing here is an F sharp with the third in the bass. So it's not a B flat chord, but I'm recognising that I've got B flat over F sharp. And similarly, you know, later I noticed that I had this E flat 7 or D sharp 7. And that would be the fifth of that. So I've also got a D sharp 7 over B flat. Not sure if that would be useful. I've got a full C sharp diminished. Again, most of these I'm working out like this. So I see a minor third, and I see a minor third, and I see a minor third. I see a minor third, I see a minor third. I see minor thirds. All the way up. Ah, that means diminished, because diminished are just as minor as you can get. As I just said, I see my D sharp 7, which is also a full, I mean that's a shell voicing, no 5, but here, sorry, that was loud and aggressive and no need. So that's a full D sharp 7, and I've also got a D, because that's the 5, got the flat 5, which means gosh, got lost in my head a moment there. What I see is I've got a D sharp 7, which is major, but I've also got a D minor 7 flat 5. I thought that was interesting. E-wise, I can see this E minor 7, but without the 5. And I can see an E minor 7, sorry, an E minor 7 major 7, but without the 5. I've got my F sharp, and I've also got my F sharp 7, and I've got a G minor 6. Gosh, I managed to do that, keeping the waffling down to a fair minimum. Okay, I made a mistake, unfortunately. There is no G minor, because the G minor, well, like G minor with a 5. There's no G minor with a 5. So that's a bit of a blow. However, I have come up with 3 different sections. So let's take a look at what I came up with. Firstly, 4 chords. The first one is this E minor 7. So 5th string, 7th fret. That's an E. Then 4th string, 5th fret, that's the minor 3rd. Back to the 7th fret again with the 3rd string, which is my flat 7. So I've got root, flat 3, flat 7. Then what I do is effectively take that root down to a 7. So it's like an E minor major 7. Kind of an E minor 7 major 7. So. Then I went to a G full diminished. then an F sharp, which becomes a 7. That's the first part. The second part is very much a sort of bridge section. I've got this F sharp, also shell voicings. So this is an F sharp dominant 7 shell voicing. I've got my root, my flat 7, and my 3. So I'm just changing one note there, the root note. So as a G, I'd say that's a G minor 6. And again, root, again, it's missing the 5, it's a shell. So I've got root, flat 3, 6. Sorry. So this is the little bridge section. It's the same 2 chords repeated a minor third away from each other. F sharp 7, G minor 6 to A 7, B flat minor 6. Very brief. That just repeats as a bridge section a couple of times, I guess. It depends how many times I leave it to loop. So, final of my 3 sections. Trying to remember what I played. Ah, yes. So, I've got my A7, which I'm not using this finger. Normally I'd play it like that. It's easier to see what I'm doing there. Root, flat 7, 3. Dominant, but I'm playing with these 3 fingers. So, my first finger, second string at the 4th fret, second string at the 4th fret, it's my sharp 11. So it's a dominant sharp 11. Then I'm keeping 2 notes the same, those 2, but I'm taking my bass note up 1 fret, and I'm taking my second string up to the 7th fret. Keeping the continuity of that bass note, but taking it up to a D sharp dominant 7. And that's it for the chords of my 3rd section. To have a little jam over them with this new scale. Quick reminder of the new scale. Root, flat 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, flat 7, root. I guess I better make a couple of disclaimers. Like, one thing is I like to learn slowly. So I haven't worked out, I haven't even tried to find out where this scale is derived from. It's probably a mode of the melodic minor. I don't want to think that way yet. I like to simply wander into the new ground with my eyes open and not be jumping to conclusions. I want to discover it with fresh ears and fresh eyes. I don't know if that makes sense. but that's what I'm doing. So a disclaimer there that I am purposely fumbling around in the dark to some degree. And I'm simply wanting to share how I go about learning. This has been interesting for me today. I've explored and I found it interesting, and I'm not trying to suggest that any of the music I make is any good, but it's involved me learning and it's involved me making music, and that's basically what I encourage everyone to do. Make music, learn while you're making music, and lifelong happiness. That's what I think. So I'll have a little noodle, then I'll simply sign off and hope to maybe see you tomorrow. Bye now.